Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about PvP and what builds and combos are the strongest. Before I get into anything, I do want to preface that this is my opinion. Skill matters more than any build combo, so find something that fits your playstyle. And build diversity has never been better. The meta is evolving, and while I've been able to gain insight early on here, things are constantly developing, and new combos of weapons, abilities, ability jewels, and legendary weapons are being discovered. That said, from my experience fighting in dueling arenas and open world PvP in the beta, these are my thoughts. I'll be breaking down this video into 3 sections with a few build options in each. These sections being 1v1 duels, small scale fights and slash open world, your 2v2s, 3v3s, etc., and then raiding. Lastly, I'll be trying to avoid going too hard into specific jewels and legendaries, for these are getting perfect items in normal servers will be hard, but I might mention some stuff to keep an eye out on just to enhance the builds. If you like this content, obviously be sure to like and subscribe, and catch me at twitch.tv/Redlaf for more V-Rising content. With that, let's hop into it. Starting off with 1v1s, we're going to cover 3 different build options. So getting started, we're going to go over Chaos Volley, Illusion Dash, and Phantom Aegis build. This is a Phantasm stacking build. You run it with Scholar Blood to get cooldown resets. As you stack Phantasm, you get up to a max of 20% chance to reset your cooldown on any ability cast, not just illusion spells. Pair that with Scholar Blood and you can have insane luck getting multiple Chaos Volleys out. Additionally, you can get a jewel for Phantom Aegis that when used, the target of the shield will get an increased spell power, as well as just a shield in general. And then some jewels for Chaos Volley are the increased damage, or the second hit deals more, as if they dodge the first, but you hit the second, you'll still deal a huge impact of damage. And I'd recommend running Raging Tempest or Merciless Charge with this build. But end of the day, you are popping your Phantom Aegis and Illusion Dash as much as you want, building up Phantasm stacks, and just volleying out a horrendous amount of Chaos Volleys. Now moving on to the next 1v1 builds we're going to be talking about, it will be Frost builds. Frost builds in 1v1 are still incredibly strong, and with some jewels you no longer need to run full Frost to make it work, making these builds a lot more flexible based on your playstyle. Do note there are diminishing returns on crowd control, so your freeze durations may vary depending on how many times in a row you freeze someone within that window. When running Frost builds, I believe Frost Dash and Barrier are almost mandatory. You can get a gem for your Frost Barrier that if the opponent is chilled and you recast the barrier, it'll freeze them. This is crazy powerful, as it means you can freeze opponents purely by dashing, proccing a chill, and then using the barrier recast. Or if they are hit by a spike when they hit the barrier, then you can recast and freeze them. That being said, Ice Block is also a good alternative to barrier, though harder to consistently get freezes off, just depends on your playstyle. And then since that's the 2 of the 3 abilities, you can look at the third. While Frostbat is still alright, I think due to the 1v1 meta, I recommend Crystal Lance more. Crystal Lance, if it hits now, just freezes opponents. It does not chill anymore, nor do they have to be chilled to get freezed. It just freezes them. So you can pair this with Pure Frost or other combos to get freezes off. One that I like is running Crystal Lance with Mosquito. The Mosquito will proc Fear on the opponent, which makes lining up Crystal Lance super easy. For ultimates with Frost builds, Arctic Leap is still good, but with diminishing returns on crowd control, it might be better to go Merciless Charge or Raging Tempest instead. Those 2 ultimates you're going to hear a lot, and honestly, you can run them with almost any build, as I think those 2, Merciless Charge and Raging Tempest, are probably the strongest ultimates in the game right now, just as an overall recommendation. And then lastly, with the 1v1 builds I recommend, we're going to be talking about Lightning Curtain builds. Lightning Curtain is, honestly, it's broken. It's crazy how powerful it is. It lasts for close to 4 seconds on full duration. It blocks all enemy projectiles but not your own. You can move around it or through it while it's up, acting as a barrier ability that lets you cast during it. And there are good gems for it that can slow enemies if they go through it, potentially stunning them, or give you a shield when you walk through it. Due to its versatility, you can see a few options to run with it. The classic Chaos Volley still works here, as you can have the curtain up and shoot through it. You can run a barrier or counter with it that enables you to just purely play aggressive in the enemy's face. If you're going this route, I highly recommend Discharge if you do, as it's a strong ability that's slept on in 1v1s, especially if you get the jewel that lets you move twice after being procced in it, so you can go aggressive, have your lightning curtain up, get the speed up, have a shield with that lightning curtain and blocking stuff, and if they do hit you, it's on a counter with the discharge that then you can dash at them twice, either make them waste their dashes themselves or hit them, knock them in the air, and if you learn the timing window, you can immediately incapacitate them as they're leaving this into another combo. Incredibly, incredibly oppressive. So the combos with Lightning Curtain are almost endless. It's arguably the strongest PvP ability in the game at the moment, in my opinion. And so I recommend trying different stuff that you like with it and adjusting depending on if you're in 1v1s, 2v2s, raids, etc. Moving past 1v1s, let's talk about the group fights. For the group fight section, I'm going to cover all the big abilities you should be bringing, and then talk about combos based off this and the number of players you have. So, like I said, first I'm going to list the big abilities and some gems that you want to look out for when starting to spec up for group fights. Obviously, Chaos Volley is still a supreme ability that you'll want for raw damage. In any section of a 1 or 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, you'll want a couple of those or one of those run just because it is still the king of just raw DPS in this game. Then having a barrier in group fights are still good. You can move with them, block projectiles. This power is not gone. Additionally, you have recasts, which make them more potent. And then also there's some gems like with Chaos Barrier. There's a gem that if an enemy hits you or hits your barrier in melee, it'll stun them. So that can be devastating in these larger effects that you can't go in and try and get any others off, as it'll just stun them. And similar to barriers, Lightning Curtain is incredibly powerful. As I was talking about, I highly recommend at least one Lightning Curtain in any composition. It allows your team to chase with speed ups. It blocks a wide area from enemy projectiles. You can hide behind it to heal if needed, etc. Obviously though, I want to say take note that in open world, this ability is one of the last you get, so this is for more late game PvP. Polarity Shift, it's a bit slept on right now as players are figuring out combos, but if you get skilled with this ability, you can really disrupt enemy combos and just enemies as a whole. You can stop them from running away if you swap with them and put them in the middle of your teammates, or you can swap with your ally if you have another second ability that you can, like with the shield, you can block, so you can swap with your ally if you think they're about to get comboed and have your barrier up. There's a lot of cool things you can do with this. It's going to be a very high skilled ability, and I think it's a little slept on right now, but I think you'll see more of it as the meta develops. Void is a great ability to negate barriers, counters, and curtain plays. It pulls enemies in now, so you can line up skill shots to hit after it, and there are really good gems that can leave fire on the ground and or shoot off 3 more explosions after it erupts, making it harder for enemies to walk away, and instead they'll have to waste dashes to get out. Ice Nova, for similar reasons to Void, it bypasses defensive. It's a large AoE that chills and sets up any other Frost player in your team for freezes. Ice Block is a good defensive to help stop yourself or ally from being comboed off CC, and it heals, so this is a good option if you wish. And then lastly, Sanguine Coil. If you get the gem that allows it to bounce, then this could be really strong and really help with keeping your allies up and healthy or yourself up and healthy. That being said, it can be a bit hard to hit. And if you don't have that jewel that I just mentioned, it might be better off to run Blood Fountain if you're looking to provide some heals. Now, what are some combos with all this that I think are good? Again, please note, skill above builds. You might run other combos you find stronger. Also, I'm trying to keep in mind when you kill bosses when talking about this, but it won't be perfect, so you have to be a bit flexible with these if you're running or looking at these builds for open world. So we'll go 2v2, 3v3, and then 4v4. For 2v2s, I recommend the combos of a Chaos Volley plus Chaos Barrier, and then a Void plus Lightning Curtain, a Chaos Volley plus Lightning Curtain for both players, or a Frost build plus Ice Nova Lightning Curtain. If you don't have the Lightning Curtain, then I would run Ice Nova plus a Barrier of some kind. Again, depends on jewels. In 3v3s, I think Chaos Volley plus Lightning Curtain, Sanguine Coil plus Barrier or a Curtain, and then a damage ability like Chaos Volley plus Discharge. I think that's a really strong combo. You provide some heals, raw damage, and a lot of disrupts with Discharge if you get it off. If not that, you can look at Void plus Lightning Curtain or Barrier, a Frost build, and then Chaos Volley plus Phantom Aegis. And then moving on to the 4v4s, I've actually gotten a lot of 4v4 practice in. It's been a lot of fun. But at this level, because this game, how it's built in terms of PvP, when you get to 4v4, honestly, you just gotta cover the basics, and this comes down to skill and coordination. We were doing some practice with this. We won some good fights with the following. We had a Void and a Barrier, which was Frost. We had a Lightning Curtain plus Chaos Barrier, a Chaos Volley plus the Discharge, and the Chaos Volley plus a Phantom Aegis. That first person, the Void plus the Frost Barrier, also ran Lightning Curtain some, but that was the combo that we were feeling very strong in. Another combo that we saw that we lost hard to was Chaos Volley plus Chaos Barrier, Lightning Curtain plus Discharge, Phantom Aegis plus Ice Nova, and Void plus Barrier, Frost Barrier in this instance. Obviously, a lot of this relies on jewels for these combos in this practice, so as you play a normal wipe, keep that in mind. Take note of jewels, what you have, and how they'll help, as jewels are incredibly powerful for PvP. Lastly, raids. Raid PvP, I will say I've gotten some experience with in Gloomrot beta testing, but definitely my least amount of experience in the beta. From what I've experienced and seen, and what I've heard from players talking, there are a few key combos used a lot. For defending a raid, a common thing is to focus on summon builds at the beginning. You can play back and use a lot of mosquitoes and voids, especially if you are able to have the jewel that leaves a burn on the ground and or pops into 3 explosions after. This can be devastating against golems, and the mosquito can keep enemies feared from defending it. Also, polarity shift is good, as it can be used to be swap places with an enemy and trap them in your base before the siege timer starts. I've also seen some unholy knights used from defenders to again just have more summons causing chaos and stay back and healthy in fights before having to swap to more dueling builds when the breach begins. For offense, a big one is Lightning Curtain. You can use it to protect your golem from attacks from afar and cover your flanks. Phantom Aegis is also very good for attacking raids. I hope this video was helpful with learning the new basics of PvP in Gloomrot V Rising and the main combos you're going to see a lot as of now. Again, one last time, the meta is still shifting and building, and there are so many combos in the game that are also good at the moment. Build diversity is honestly at an all-time high, and I'd love to hear what you've been enjoying. But with that, take care and peace out.